another video. Sana, not Shauna. Get it right, get it tight. And we're going to be talking about, is it worth it to be a CNA tech? Is it worth it to get your CNA license or not? So let's talk about my program. My program was $850 for the entire program, and it was 4 weeks. It was 2 weeks in the classroom, 2 weeks for clinicals. When we were doing in the classroom, it was every day from 8 to 5, Monday through Thursday, and it really wasn't bad. I mean, like, I hated being there all day, but it is what it is. Like, it really wasn't bad. You would just get sleepy or whatever during lecture. If you've taken A&P or if you've taken medical terminology, some of that stuff that you might learn might be really repetitive, so it might get boring because you're like, I know this, we move on. But you have to still listen and take a test and all that kind of stuff over, depending on how your program is. It took me at least 2 weeks, I think, before I was able to schedule and take my test. So yeah, 2 weeks after, or was it longer? 2 or 3 weeks after I finished the program is when I took my test. And so I was practicing on my skills because the test was super nerve-wracking. Like, literally, it's just a person standing there looking at you like this, telling you what you, or giving you a card telling you like what skills you have to perform, and you're performing it on either a dummy or another student there to get their CNA. So it was really like nerve-wracking because she's not telling you anything. She's just like, and you're like looking at her like, am I doing it wrong or am I doing it right? And they're just like giving you nothing. Like, they're just so it's really, really awkward. My heart was going 1,000 miles a minute, so I felt so bad for the guy that had to count, do my pulse, because he had to keep rechecking it because my pulse was so fast. Like, it was probably like, I think he said it was like 112. Like, I was that nervous. He was like, I was like, I'm so sorry, I know my pulse is fast. And he's like, yeah, it is. So it was just like nerve-wracking for him too. It was really nerve-wracking, but I passed. And the guy that did it with me, he passed too, because they let you know like immediately. So after that, I was applying before I even got my license, but like I was applying at like strictly like medical places like hospital, dialysis, stuff like that, where you like need to have your CNA. But I was just applying anyway, even though I didn't have it yet. So then even afterwards, when I did get my license, I like changed my resume to where they know that I got my license. Hey, be quiet! I'm filming! I was already applying to jobs when, dude, seriously. I'm really sorry, but I think I haven't been able to watch TV because I was waiting for you to finish the other one, and I can't find my remote. It's not in here. Close the door. I had been applying to jobs like for a while, and I wanted to like have a job immediately, but it took so long. Like, just like when you're trying to apply at a hospital, like I guess the protocol and procedures, like it takes them a really long time to get back to you, like at least like a month. And then when just getting in there and doing the orientation, which took another week, it was so long and annoying, and then finally you're actually on the floor and able to like start doing your training and all that. And then when I was doing my training for the hospital I'm at right now, Hurricane Harvey freaking hit, so that's another week and a half that was like added to it. So all my training and all that was just dragged out. Like, it took me so long before I was actually like in the hospital on the floor. Anyway, I got there. But just know, like, when you're applying to those jobs after you get your license, it might take them a while to get back to you because they're like going through all this stuff, and just it's a long procedure. But you also just like have to have your CNA here, like in Texas, when you're trying to work at the hospital. Some dialysis places, like, they'll train you themselves, and you'll have to go through this long training process or whatever if you want to do that. But for the hospital, yeah, you definitely have to, because they're only going to add on to what you already know. So it's different than when you're in a nursing home. Whatever you learn as a CNA is what you're going to be using in the nursing home. So there's no no added training or like extra things. But like in the hospital, I'm also doing phlebotomy. I'm also doing like I can take out Foley's. Like, they train you for all that stuff. And blood sugar checks, blah blah. So it's just extra stuff that you have to know. Like when I get into clinicals for nursing school, I'm going to know a lot more than somebody who wasn't in the medical field. Like I know a lot about IVs, I know a lot about pill crushing medication, how to give a patient the medication depending on whether they need to be on if they have like have to have thickened liquids, or just like dysphagia, like just a lot of stuff that I like know, and I would only know if I was working in the hospital. So that's where we get down to it, where I think that it is definitely worth it to get your CNA, because especially depending on how long you're going to be in school, or if you're still going through your prereqs, like get it done in the summer like I did. You will be surprised how much you learn, and some days it's just like you just don't, you're just like, I can't wait until I'm already a nurse. But at the same time, I think that it's going to make me that much better as a nurse, because you can tell the ones who understand that you also have to get your hands dirty in order to be a good nurse. Some of them just want to be able to pass meds and that's it, but it's like way more to it. There's a lot of wound care, there's a lot of changes, there's a lot of like stuff dealing with the bathroom, and there's just like the little things that make you, I feel like, make someone a better nurse, like your bedside manner and all that stuff. And you get a lot of practice doing that. Like you end up being with the patient more than the nurse does when you're a CNA tech or whatever in the hospital. Like even in the nursing home as a CNA, you know that patient better than the nurses, because the nurses are going around passing meds, but you're actually in there like talking with them, helping them eat, getting them up for the bathroom or bed baths or whatever. Like so you end up learning so much about that patient or your patients. Also, you really learn how to work with the doctors, the nurses, RT, OT, PT, which is respiratory therapy, occupational therapist, physical therapist, dietary. Like you learn how to work with like all those people, case management, like the transporters, like especially because I'm working on a med-surg floor, so when I tell you that floor is just so busy, there's always people in and out, the dialysis people, because if your patient has to go to dialysis, you and the nurse are the ones that have to bring that patient to dialysis and pick them up and bring them back to the floor. The transporters might ask you, like, okay, can this patient get up and move? Can this patient do this? Dietary might be asking you, hey, is this your patient? Are they eating? Are they not eating? What do you think we should do with their diet? Blah, blah, blah. OT or RT might be asking you, like, can they get up? Have you seen them get up? How are they moving? Are they not feeling well today? Like, you just know so much. So a lot of people end up coming to you about questions that they can't reach the nurse, or they won't ask the nurse, they'll just ask you. So, I don't know. I really feel like it's worth it. And also, like, I don't know if anybody else is like me. Like, I really can't stand, like, working, like, retail or something like that. Like, the pay is a lot better than working like a retail job, or I guess depending on where you work as well, because I know some places don't pay that well as like other hospitals would, but I think it's worth it, and you're so much better at your skills. Like I've been practicing non-stop my phlebotomy because it's actually so much harder than you would even think. Some people have like rolling veins and they might be dehydrated, so it's a really hard stick, or you can't feel it, you can't see it, and it's just like that'll also help you when you're trying to start an IV and all that stuff as well. So you just get more comfortable being hands-on. Like clinicals will be so much easier for you if you were a CNA before you started nursing school. Like clinicals will be a breeze. You will have no problem talking to a patient or doing whatever you're supposed to be doing. And also just getting into the hospital, just already having hospital experience on there, I'm sure will help you a lot more when it's time to like apply to jobs after you get out of nursing school. So that'll give you a leg up on the competition. But I think it is definitely worth it. And you also just learn more about, this is the last thing, about how to deal with codes, rapid responses, signs and symptoms of diseases. Like you know what to look for, what's like if they just got a surgery, what's not a good sign, what is. Just you know how the hospital works as a whole. You know about like just little stuff like edema and sepsis and MRSA and I don't know, you also have to know what's important to, or what needs immediate attention rather than something that doesn't need immediate attention. So if, let's say I have 9 or 12 patients, which is usually it's either 9 or it's 12, you know which ones you have to round on the most. Like for us, it's where we round on even numbers, the nurses round on odd numbers. But you might have a patient who is like from ICU, or a patient who just like left the stroke unit, or like something like that, or a patient who they told you had just previously had a stroke or something like that, where to like go check on that patient more, what signs and everything to look for. I've had like deaths already, so like when I have a death, even though you never get used to stuff like that, but when I have to go through something like that as a nurse, like it wouldn't be something new to me. It's something that I've experienced before, and I can learn how to better cope with stuff like that, because I've already dealt with, I want to say 4 this year. So yeah, I just think it's worth it. And if you're thinking about doing it, I say do it. Get it done in the summer, and so you can work your 12-hour shift 1 or 2 times a week while you're in nursing school. And I just really feel like it's worth it. So yeah. Thanks for watching.